This episode is brought to you by Triggered 22 LLC, a veteran-owned apparel company. By purchasing a t-shirt, hat, or hoodie from Triggered 22, you're not only supporting a small business, but you're bringing awareness to veteran PTSD and suicide. Please help save the lives of those who fought for our freedoms. Visit triggered22.com now and place your order. Let's help those suffering from invisible wounds.
Here's the thing that I'm passionate about that most politicians won't even acknowledge. We don't live in an economy anymore where one parent can support the family so that the other parent can raise the kids.
Welcome to the American Grown Podcast, hosted by Austin Sullivan. The American Grown Podcast will focus on people from different walks of life and their journey to where they are now. Now, turn up your volume and settle in for a great episode.
Hi, I'm Austin Sullivan. This is the American Grown Podcast, recorded inside the Colortech Creative Solutions studios. Today, we have Zachari Halkias, currently the youngest elected official in Pennsylvania, serving as a borough council member for Slatington. Zachary, welcome to episode 49 of the American Grown Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Slatington, I know you're north of Allentown, but how was the drive coming in?
It was over an hour. Took a little while, but it was a good drive.
I appreciate you coming in. It does mean a lot. Before we dive into your political career so far, let's get some background about yourself. Where'd you grow up, school, what were you into in high school?
Born and raised in Slatington, third generation Slatingtonian. It's located right in the center of the Lehigh Valley. I went to Northern Lehigh High School. I graduated there in 2020. I was affected by the, COVID pandemic. My senior year kind of got cut short. So that was kind of where my interest in politics started because, it's a shame that it had to affect day-to-day activities and, the children and education and simple stuff like that. But now I'm just going to college at LTRIC and I study business and I work in the political field.
Let's back it up a little bit. So what was it like growing up? Do you have siblings? How was it growing up?
We live in a great community and a good part of the community. I will say that I do like Slatington for how easily accessible most essential businesses are. We live right near gas station, have a couple, restaurants that are good and the post office. So it's very well equipped for your day-to-day activities. I do have a younger sister, very fortunate to have, a sibling and, so that's great. I had a great family my entire life. I have two great parents, my mom and my dad, and I'm just very thankful to have a strong family, and I think that's where a lot of my good values come from.
Your last name, say it again for me.
Halkias.
Halkias. So may I ask, is that Italian, German, Halkias?
Greek.
I should have known. Okay. Greek like the gods almost.
Yeah.
Do you know, is there a meaning?
So I did some research on it, and I believe it derives from a word meaning coppersmith.
Oh, sweet. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. You were going to high school. What were you into?
I didn't really do sports in high school. That I kind of did, growing up kind of thing, not, competitively. In high school, I was the yearbook guy.
Okay.
I love graphic design, communication design, and the business aspect of it. For my junior and senior year, I was actually the president of the club. It was a great experience, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world. It was amazing. I had a really great advisor who was like a second mom to me. I learned a lot about the business aspect of it too. I would sit in on her negotiating with the printing company.
Yeah.
And learning about the finance aspect of it and fundraising for the book, advertising the book, and that kind of thing. In my senior year, and I just want to say this because I was pretty proud of it, I wanted to do something really cool and different for my senior year yearbooks. So my idea that we did in the book was for all the classes, or excuse me, all the clubs and all the sports, we actually recorded videos interviewing the advisors and the student presidents of each sport and club, and we put QR codes next to all those on the club and sports pages.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so you'd be able to scan it, and then you could see our like one-on-one interview with those people.
That's like game changing. Seriously, I think more schools should do that. Yeah. My school. I mean, of course, I graduated in 2011, so it's been a little while, you know. So small world. I was actually a part of my school's newspaper back in high school. I was a photographer, and the yearbook staff shared the classroom with the local school newspaper. So like I got to see what the yearbook staff did, but I never got to give input because I was on the newspaper. But I'm guessing you guys probably use Jostines for your printing?
We use Jostines.
Yeah, or Jostines, yeah. So what was that like, and what did you learn when you sat in on those meetings?
I got to like learn a lot of my negotiation skills and like the communication skills of like what we as the school and the yearbook committee should require and like ask of what Jostines does for us. So, you know, I got to learn about I got to learn a lot about the negotiation part of it from the yearbook advisor, and about just the business aspect of it as a whole, you know, more than just taking pictures, going around the school surveying people and editing it on the computer. So I guess that's kind of where part of my entrepreneurial inclination comes from.
Yeah, but at some point you decide to run to be a council member on the borough. So how does that segue in? Because I think you're still, at that time, you're still in high school. Give us that whole background. Let's just jump right into it. This would have been, you were, I think, elected January of last year, 2022.
Yeah, that was when I was sworn in.
Sworn in, okay. What was that process like, running a successful campaign? Let's go back to day one. Where did you get the idea from? Let's start from the beginning.
So, firstly, my interest in politics started when the coronavirus policies by, all these politicians started affecting the daily lives of just, random people. And, it shouldn't be that invasive that children should be concerned with it. That's how I feel. And I don't think it should be something that, is obtrusive in day-to-day life. So granted, all the events that happened in 2020 and, policy responses to it, that's what got me interested in it. And I was really, following that for up until the 2020 election. And then my mother talked to a friend of ours from down the street who grew up near politics, but not necessarily in it. And he got me interested in getting involved with it. He appointed me to his seat on the Lehigh County Republican Committee as a committee member in February of 2021. And at the time I was 18. Then a couple months later, comes to me and tells me that there's some seats up on the Slatington Borough Council. So, he shows me this, he sits me down, and on the table, he slides a little drawing he made of Zachary Halkias Slatington Borough Council with some stars on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think this would be a great idea for you. And I was like, heck yeah, man.
Let's go for
sure,
it. Yeah.
Let's go for it. So right away, we launched a write-in campaign for the primary. That meeting I had with him was in April, and our primary was in May. So we reached out to actually the new mayoral candidate. Previously, our mayor was of 24 years, and just this past municipal election, we had somebody else come into the game and eventually win. So I, teamed up with her, and we went door knocking together, door to door, to campaign. And we did that, and primary day came around, and we successfully got on the ballot. Then over the summer, we went to all the community events and handed out pens, cards, talked to people everywhere, went to all the events. And in the last month before the election, for all of October, we, instead of getting a bunch of yard signs and putting them all over town, spending a lot of money, we rented a billboard going right into Slatington for the whole month of October, Zachary Halkias, Slayton Borough Council. Everybody saw it in coming into town, and it was really awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then on election day, we came out with the most amount of votes of any candidate.
Wow. When you started running, that was like kind of peak COVID, or COVID had just recently happened? Like, I shouldn't say when you were running, but when you got into politics.
That was when I got interested. I
Okay.
first got involved with getting into like the ground game of it in the following February 2021, the year
Okay.
after.
If COVID didn't happen, do you think you'd be in politics now?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, no, I don't think I would have had any idea or inclination to, because, I never really had an interest in it before. Like politics, the president, the governor never crossed my mind ever.
Yeah. So really that it sounds like sparked your interest or made you feel motivated to take that step forward. Because like you said, you saw how it was affecting the youth of America and how it was affecting your life, and local businesses in your area. So COVID hits, you got your interest, you get involved. Now all of a sudden you're running, you're going door to door. What is that like, boots on the ground? Were people nice to you when you were knocking on doors?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. My community was very excited to have a person of the younger generation to represent them. So, like, overwhelming amount of support from my community, and we're just focused on fulfilling all the promises I made along the campaign. As I'm serving now.
Yeah. I was doing some research. I Googled your name because I was like, I got to look this guy up, Zachary. The Times News, TN Online, you had mentioned about you were running on trying to bring more business to Slatington area, but also reopening the local swimming pool and community center. Is there any updates on that?
Yeah, so...
How's it going with that?
About a year after I was sworn in, and just this past summer, we had the first summer of the pool open again, thanks to a grant by the state. And as far as the community center, we are making a agreement with an organization to make use of that for the community.
Okay.
It's still under, the processing part of it.
I just thought it was neat, you being so young and having set goals, like attainable goals, like getting, the local swimming pool open, getting the community center up and running. I just thought that was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another one of my big promises was to try to expand parking in the borough, because it's a real issue, especially on Main Street where all of our businesses are.
Okay.
It gets pretty filled up pretty quickly and pretty easily. So what I did so far to this point was I reached out to our state senator and his office and started to explore what options the state can grant for an incentive policy that I proposed and created to expand the whole homes repair program. So this program was just created as part of last year's budget, and they give a portion of the funds to each county. And what the program does as of now essentially gives households under a certain income funds to provide and purchase like home essentials like insulation and things like that. So what my proposal was to expand the program to offer financial aid or like tax incentives for properties with the space to create their own driveways or garages.
Yeah.
So
that's smart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because then it would alleviate some of the street parking if somebody has the space to put parking on their
Right.
actual property.
Yeah, they could park their employees, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, I mean, parking is essential for especially downtown or any city small businesses. Like if your customers can't park near your business, chances are they're not going to support your business because they can't get to your business. And then if they can't get to your business is going to close, or you're going to go online and not have a storefront.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was one proposal I made, and then I brought that to the council at one meeting, and with unanimous support and signatures, we approved to send it to the senator, and we met with his office, and we're exploring those options right now.
So let's just take that you just said. What was that like? You're a young guy now. You're 20, 21?
21.
Okay, so what is it like? Are you nervous when you go in front of these people? Like, how do you feel? How do you handle yourself? Because I feel like, younger people in their early 20s are, some of them playing video games, they're partying, whatever they're doing. They're not really into politics, but you seem very focused and you know what you want to do.
I don't have any problem talking with like these, other elected officials like our state senators, our state representatives in the area, because I know all of them on like a more personal level than most people do, because I'm involved with the county committee, and most of our local elected officials and state officials are involved and, come to the meetings and such. So I know them on more of a personal level, so I don't have any problem like, calling them up, send them a text or an email, asking them, what are our options for this? What information can you give me on what the state can do for my borough? And so I don't have any like issue,
You don't get
collaborating with these people.
Yeah, no butterflies or any kind of like anxiousness.
No.
Oh, I like that. That's great. And if you're not nervous, then like you're dead set. Like this is what we're going to do, to make the community better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something that I have to offer that not every council person does, because, I'm involved with this as like I work in politics for my primary job, and I'm involved with the county committee. So I know these other officials that can help us. That's something that, not every local official, has to offer, getting state officials to help us.
What does a day to day look like for you being, a city council member for the borough?
Basically, it's mostly outreach. It's not a full-time position. My day-to-day is my primary job. Right now, I do field work in the political field, and I make my absolute best effort to go to like all the community and political events possible, especially locally in my borough, so that I can reach out to my constituents and see what I can do for them. Hearing what their concerns are, making phone calls to help solve these issues, and then, go to the meetings when we have them, and participating in the county party meetings monthly, and, just really making an effort to reach out to people. And then I document everything on social media.
I saw you have a pretty good, decent following, I thought, and I like how you present and handle yourself. You're very professional, and I think you're true to yourself. Like,
thank you.
I don't think you're fronting. This is you. Like, you're seriously into what you're into.
Yeah.
Yeah. I shared with you The Human Element of Politics that was written by Alisher, who ran for city council here. What do you credit to your success? What were some of the things was it the billboard? Do you think the billboard did it when you first were running? Like what got you elected?
Part of it was advertising. We also ran a couple ads in like our local gazette, the Town and Country. And as far as the human element of the success of the campaign, I would attribute just authenticity. That's one thing I get, especially from people I know on a personal level, or like colleagues of mine that know me personally. They really, I've heard this multiple times, they just really acknowledge and appreciate the fact that I'm just authentic with them. Like, I don't let my position or my involvements get to me at all. And that's something that we see in, a lot of our other officials.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying for sure. Yeah, it's hard to not get caught up sometimes in the nonsense or showmanship maybe of politics. Maybe that's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Being a field organizer for the Pennsylvania GOP, you did canvassing and all that. Again, what is that like? Because I never did it. I'm sure a lot of listeners have. And how did people handle you coming around and knocking on doors? I know you said a lot of it was welcoming. Kind of like walk us through that.
So when I was working for the Pennsylvania GOP, I was a field organizer. I was covering both Lehigh County and Carbon County. And more than just canvassing, it was a full-time job, 7 days a week. It was like all networking, recruiting volunteers, seeing if anybody was interested in, being an intern or staff. But it was just volunteer recruitment, get people to help make phone calls and knock doors with us, event organizing, meet up here to door knock, in a different community, meet up at this office for us to make phone calls and have pizza and
nice. Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
Food will motivate people.
Yeah.
You'll find, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it was really just intensive, like performance-based work where we needed to, hit this amount of phones this week, this amount of doors this week or that day, and just, staff events, go to these, fairs and different events to try to recruit volunteers and, really just try to get our Republicans elected.
How do you go about recruiting, help? I know you said pizza parties is one example, but how does that conversation go?
Whenever there's an event held, or I had colleagues that would have events at our own office, we would just walk around with a sign up sheet and just really try to get people to sign up to volunteer, follow up and call them, get to the front of the room at some point during some event, even if we weren't the host.
Oh yeah.
And ask, we need volunteers to make these calls, and help us knock doors to fight the good fight.
Do you find that a lot of people were willing, like when you asked them to help go door to door, or just, hey, we want to help get our the Republicans reelected or elected? Were people open to that? Or
oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I wasn't sure what the take would be, because sometimes I feel like people get so caught up in their day to day that they're like, I don't have time to volunteer, like why do you want me to waste time? But so you had success with that.
Yeah, everybody has their own schedules, but if you're making the right phone calls and enough of them, you'll get people.
There you go. Perfect. So now you've been on TV, radio, I think another podcast or two. And then what really, like I said, impressed me, you were recognized by Turning Point USA at a Ron DeSantis rally. What was that like, being on TV, then radio, and then getting recognized by Turning Point USA? Like that's pretty big.
Yeah. So it was really exciting to me. The one day, like a week or two after I was sworn into the council, I got a call from the borough manager that Blue Ridge Cable, called for an interview with me. So I met them at Borough Hall. And we did a little interview, and it aired on Blue Ridge. It was very exciting. And on the podcast, I was on the Talk of Fame podcast with Kylie Montigny, and that was really fun. I got to talk a little bit about my political work experience and elected official experience, and that was a great honor, and I thank her for that. And it was a Turning Point Action Unite and Win rally. It was out in Pittsburgh, and we went to that. It was a long drive.
Yeah, that's a haul.
But we went to that, and one of my volunteers from work, when I was working for the PAGOP, she was like, hey, I met this guy. He's one of the representatives for Turning Point. He's over at this table in the corner before the event started. And she dragged me over, introduced me to him, and this guy was like really excited. He was like, you're the youngest elected official in Pennsylvania? And I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I was with my mom at that event, and he was like, you know what, let me get you some VIP passes. We're going to get you two seated at the front.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
so
then
cool.
He was like, okay, this is how we'll do it. We'll have all the elected officials stand up. And in the video I have on my page, he goes, and we have a real treat for you, everybody, tonight. The youngest elected official, Zachary Halkias from Slayington. He's all the way over in Lehigh County on the other side of the state. He is,
seriously.
And he said, he is the future of the conservative movement.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, I first heard about you and met you. I'm like, wow, like how young you are and how invested you are in politics. And it seems like you're raised right. You have the right kind of mindset. I was like, this guy could be going places in the next couple of years. All right, so let's explain to the listeners that might not know, because some aren't from PA. Pittsburgh is, what would you say, 5-hour drive from where you're at? At least 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
Okay, so at least probably 4. Let's say 4. It's a haul. It is across the state. So you get there, and because of your networking, your connections, you're then able to get these VIP passes, get right up front, get a shout out. What did that feel like, when you stood up and got recognized?
It was very exciting, and he had me I got called out. I got to stand up in front of probably a few thousand people.
Oh, wow. No pressure.
By myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah.
And I have a video from my mom's point of view, and, it's just all these people like cheering and clapping. We got this young guy representing the party, and he's the youngest official in Pennsylvania. And, this lady that was sitting behind me, she was like, after I sat back down and the, applause died down, she was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you. We need more people like you.
Well, that's it, right? That's it.
Yeah.
More people that care and want to get involved. That must have felt so cool.
It was.
Yeah, very neat. After Pittsburgh, come back home. Let us get back up to speed. So, like from Pittsburgh till now, what else has kind of happened?
After Pittsburgh, I finished my job with the PAGOP up to the election in November. And then after that, I chose to go down to help canvass for the Senate runoff in Georgia. So for
What? Okay, because I saw that on the form, the GOP, which is grand old party, right? But I saw the GA and I'm like, is that Georgia? So you literally go down to Georgia. Talk about that.
Yeah, so it was one of the best experiences ever. So for like 3 weeks, they flew me and the coworkers that chose to down to Florida, Georgia. We would just do door to door like all day, and we had to do 300 some or more a day. That would take a good portion of the day. We'd get a lunch break, and then we'd go back to it, and then at night we would do some phone call canvassing for like about an hour or two. But it was a great experience. Like they fed us, and we would cater some food every night or so. And the one night we all went bowling, and we went to Korean barbecue the one night. Southern food, it was great.
I was gonna say they probably have some real good sweet tea down there. So yeah, I mean Georgia sweet tea for sure.
Yeah, and while I was down there, I had the best fried chicken I ever had. It was this little, small owned business called That Biscuit Place. Yeah, and it was the best fried chicken I ever had.
Hands down the best. Better than Chick-fil-A and Popeyes and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right, so
Yeah.
go to Georgia for your sweet tea and your fried chicken.
That runoff election went over Thanksgiving break, and we stayed down there. So the GOP gave all the teams that went down there, we met up at a hotel for a real nice like Thanksgiving style buffet for everybody, and that was really nice. I got to meet a bunch of different people from other state GOP staffers there, like New York, Texas, like over 15 different states went down to Georgia to canvass for the Senate campaign. And, I got to meet all these people, and we went to the Atlanta Braves Battery Park, walk around there. And because I couldn't come up and spend Thanksgiving with my family, my dad actually flew down to spend that weekend with me. And
awesome.
we, went out to eat the one night and went to a movie.
Yeah. So how long were you down there canvassing?
From November 15th to, I think, December 8th. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So-
like for up until the runoff election actually happened.
So like almost a solid month. You're away
I
from
know.
home canvassing, and it probably hot down there. It was probably a little warm or not.
It was
too bad?
actually freezing for like the
freezing
first
cold?
week and a
Oh,
half.
okay.
It was like Pennsylvania weather. I had
Was
to
it?
get
Yeah.
I had to buy a heavy coat down there because it was so
Yeah.
unexpectedly cold.
You're all in, like I mentioned earlier, and you're willing to get, I would say, in the trenches and get out there knocking on doors, which again, I don't think a lot of people in their 20s, 30s, or younger would. When you meet all these other Republicans or like-minded people, what was that like? And is there anyone there you wanted to shout out, like anyone you connected with, any friends that you've made from that trip?
A colleague of mine that was the field organizer for Bucks County, his name is Dan Maneri. He's an inspector of elections for his precinct. He's been we're very like-minded, and he's been a great help along this journey since I met him when we crossed paths during that job. And he's, we bounce ideas off of each other. It's like the iron sharpens iron. He's a real good teammate.
Being a younger person, it seems to me like there is a great divide, very political divide, right? Being a young person, what do you think attributes to that? And then also, what do you think of the term woke? Because I feel like everyone is saying woke. You hear it on the Joe Rogan podcast, the woke mindset, or you hear it on the news, and it's a term now that's so thrown around. It's like, what does it really even mean anymore?
I think that it's kind of just like a buzzword for political correctness, so to speak. I think it's just overused to the point where it starts to feel like, like a cheesy slang word. I think it's just more to represent just the ridiculousness, I guess, of some of the things that are going on that people care about. So they'll just use that word for the sake of it. So yeah.
With this political divide, why do you think the country is so divided? What is your take on it?
I think we're just at a crossroads between ideologies. I don't think that the majority of people are like against. I would say the majority of people are more for like the normalcy that we grew up with, and it's just like a very overinflated like.
My take on why I feel like the country is so politically divided is because I don't think whether you're conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, right or left, or you're an independent, that's a smaller group compared to your Republicans and Democrats. But I think it seems like there's no conversation to be had. It's like either you're like you're wrong or you're wrong. Like there's no one's really, I don't think, talking. They just want to point fingers and say, well, your way is stupid or you don't know what you're talking about. And I think if both sides were to come together, I don't know, I feel like it could help lessen the divide because I feel like the country is very divided right now.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's just a lot of people that are less willing to learn for the sake of not admitting that they're wrong. And, there's ego in being right.
Yes,
so
yeah.
Somebody would try to just stick to it out of their pride for being right.
I see what you're saying. Uh-huh.
What we need more of is just the humility to admit when you're wrong, when, you do, in fact, find that out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come to terms with it.
Yeah. I think there's just a little bit too much pride in being right, and there's not enough discussion being made, like civil discussion to be made in order to find out truth. And that's really what I try to get to at the end of the day is, am I being completely just true and fair to both ways of the issue? Like, I really try to get to just the absolute objectively right answer before I take a stance on anything. And that led me to the Republican side.
Right. Completely agree. It's an ego thing, right? You got to put your ego to the side sometimes for both sides. And I don't think Republican or Democrat one side is not 100% correct, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's a good mix of both. Now, I do sometimes feel that Republicans, have more of those conservative values. They're very faith-based. To be on the podcast, you filled out the form. You had mentioned you're trying to motivate and inspire more freedom lovers to get involved in the fight for freedom. What do you see happening in America that would motivate you to do so?
Well, I think all the issues that are happening right now should really scare people into action more and really inspire them to get involved. The big philosophy that led me to really take action in politics is I care about these issues, so why don't I do something about it instead of just putting my trust in somebody else to do it? So why don't I, give it a shot? So I think more people need to just ask yourself, would I rather do this, if your circumstances are willing, or should I trust somebody else to do it? And do I trust X person to do this on my behalf? The best interest of my family, community, and country.
So what do you think people can do locally in their community to make a difference? Like, what are some small steps that locals could do?
So I don't think it necessarily needs to be political. You can help in any way possible. Support small businesses, support local farmers, support just people that participate in the community and make it a healthier community, whether that's, I don't know, like your local crime watch or somebody that organizes community events and that sort of thing. Or you can get involved in like the political aspect. If there's somebody whose values align with yours, make some phone calls, knock some doors, and help them get elected. If, you do think that they are representative of your values.
Who are some of the mentors that you have?
A big mentor of mine was my friend that got me involved in politics in the first place. His name is Thomas Mizgalski. And my grandmother is a very big inspiration to me. My mother and my father are incredibly helpful, supportive, and are big drivers of just my general ambition in life. My sister is, very important to me as well. And just the people, around me that inspire me and encourage me to do good for the world and, be a force for good, whether that's the people that I made great connections with along the way, like fellow county party committee members and colleagues, coworkers, and that sort of thing.
So now you're studying at Lehigh Carbon Community College, and what do you call it?
L-Tri-C.
L-Tri-C. L-Tri-C. Okay, that's cool. So they're actually one of our clients. I showed you the printed piece we did for them, and I was like, what a small world. So what's like the end goal after college then?
I'm studying business administration. I am likely going to go pursue a 4-year and try to start a business in thinking maybe something politically oriented, because, I have that credibility to bring to it, or something else. I mean, I'm very inclined in graphic design and, photography, art, that sort of thing. So maybe, divulge into that.
Yeah. Whether you're designing it, because here at Colortech we do printing, and I gave you a tour, whether you get into printing or whether you run for a higher position in office, I think that's a win for you. Like I said, the values and the background that you have, will help you along the way for sure. So what would you say you're most passionate about?
I'm really just passionate about the 3 values at the core of like the conservative heart, I guess to say. God, family, country. And you can add community in there too if you want. But those are the things I really care about. And trying to advance policies or protections in order to protect those things is what I'm, really after. Because it's a fight. And you need to get involved in it if you want to protect the things that are important to you.
I couldn't agree more. I think now it's almost the way I look at the world. It's almost light versus dark, good versus evil. Mm-hmm. It's almost past politics and left or right side or whatever it is, but just some of the things you see going on and money being sent elsewhere, where yet here in America we have, veterans, homeless. We have such a rough homeless population.
It's
such
a shame.
Poor, it is, and look at poor cities like Philadelphia, New York, and I understand you have to help those less fortunate for sure, because we're all human. So of course we care about each other and other people. But at some point, when do you stop and say, "Whoa, we have to take care of our own household, our own family before we can take care of others the way we're doing it?" And I couldn't agree more. God, family, country, and community. That's what I think everybody should look at first and foremost.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of our so-called leaders have, forgone that, and we're just spending money out our rear, to other countries. I just recently learned that, we're subsidizing businesses in other countries and providing protections and fully funding, their institutions, while we have Americans that can barely afford groceries these days.
Yeah.
It's a shame. And we have ever-growing amount of crime, and, we just can't afford for a lot of these things to continue. No,
I agree. And it blows my mind seeing things on the news, whether it's the southern border or, like I said, even I saw on the news it's getting to the point where New York, which is a sanctuary city, I believe that's a correct term, that now they're talking to the mayor and things like that, the citizens, because they've taken on so many refugees that, it's now affecting their day to day. Something has to change, I feel like, in order to help people, we have to help ourselves first. That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly. It's unacceptable. Yeah. In just Joe Biden's first term, as far as we've gotten now, over 7 million people have crossed that border illegally.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick update. If you made it this far into the episode featuring Zachary Halkias, thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. If you enjoy what I'm doing for the community, please feel free to leave a positive rating and follow along on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just wanted to throw out some actual figures here. The New York Post says a shocking 3.8 million migrants have entered the U.S. since Biden took office. And then from Migration Policy Institute, MPI.org, unauthorized population in the United States is over 11,050,000 thousand. So just wanted to get some correct stats out there for everyone listening. And again, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Back to the episode. Wow.
That's insane. That's almost the size of like the entire of New York City. And New York City is getting 10,000 migrants a month. You know, veterans are getting kicked out of their apartments to house immigrants.
I saw that. Yeah. Now, do you know where you got the 7 million? Because I don't know. Do you have like a source? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly what the source was.
I guess the solution is getting younger people involved like yourself, and older people getting out there and letting your voice be heard, right? Like get out and be involved in the community. And it could be something as small, I think, as volunteering to coach a local, sports team.
Yeah, we need more communities like that where, the parents, are spending more time with their kids and they're not as you send a kid like standardly, you send a kid to school for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week for 9 months out of the year. And then they come home and then, they're learning the same things that are happening in their schools on social media. So they're not learning the conservative values that, a lot of the older people, the parents have, aren't getting transferred down to their kids. And that's why we're in the situation we're in, where less young people are choosing to be conservative because their families are not, transferring those values because there's like so much time taken away. And here's the thing that I'm passionate about that most politicians won't even like acknowledge. We don't live in an economy anymore where one parent can support the family so that the other parent can raise the kids.
Exactly. Good point. Yes.
Yeah. Like if both parents want to work, mother and father, let them. But, that's the thing that forces these kids into, daycares, all day and then, school all day, because we don't live in an economy where we can afford to have the parent stay home and raise the kid.
You really can't. You really can't. You have to have two people working. And then, it's that time. The values aren't being passed down. Kids are at school, which, again, I'm not saying schools are doing anything wrong because they're teaching what curriculum is given to them, I guess, by the states. But it's that time that they're not with mom or dad to learn those values or those traditions, right? Even just family traditions. I agree with you 100%. Something has to change, and we'll see what happens in 2024. I feel like that's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, what items did you bring with today? Let's talk about those a little bit.
Here I have a Vote Zachary Halkias Yankton Borough Council pin.
Okay.
We got a little button press off of Amazon, and we...
Oh, you did these yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
My
cool.
mom made them. So we made a couple of those, handed them out during the campaign, and you're free to keep that one. We have plenty.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yep. And then...
That's awesome.
We both made them.
Yep.
Yeah, together. That's great.
Secondly, we have a Vote Zachary Halkias Slatington Borough Council pen.
Whoa, an official pen.
Yep.
The pen.
Yep. And that is a very underrated type of political advertising because people will keep that and use it. Not everybody is really who's going to keep like their mailer or the piece of literature that's left on their door.
Yeah.
But that was a big one, especially during the write-in campaign. We need to make sure that they spell Zachary with an I.
Right, correct. Yeah.
So if they had it on the pen as they were filling out their ballot,
they won't forget it.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. I'm telling you, very good marketing strategy.
Yeah, very underrated.
Yeah, I believe it.
I still see them at like different offices. Like, it's so underrated. They just keep lingering.
Yeah, but that's phenomenal. It's got your name. I like that a lot. Cool. Yeah. And your last piece here, a piece of printed literature. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the ad I ran at the end or near the end of the campaign in the Town and Country Gazette. We bought the full back page for that edition of the magazine. It's
Yeah.
full back page. Vote November. What does it say? November 2nd.
Yeah.
Zachary Halkias, Slatington Borough Council.
Wow, that is awesome. The full back page. On the front, you got the Blue Mountain Town and Country Gazette. Happy Halloween, October 21st, 2021. This is neat. This is a piece of history, dude. I mean, hold on to this. This is awesome. Vote November 2nd. Wow. Very cool. That is awesome. Did you design this?
No, I didn't. I did not.
I like it, though.
Somebody
It's
else
clean.
designed it, but I did make the concept of it though. I knew I wanted like the American flag and the Pennsylvania flag, and have the stars. So.
And there'll be photos up on American Grown Podcast on Facebook and Instagram for all the listeners, so you can check that out. And now, how can our listeners connect with you and follow along on your journey?
So I'm on basically every social media. You can find me at Mr._Councilman on X, not Twitter.
Okay, yeah, X, right?
Mr.Councilman on Instagram, Zachary Halkias on YouTube, and Mr. Councilman or Mr.Councilman on TikTok.
Perfect. So you got them all covered. I think you just listened.
Oh, and Zachary Halkias on Facebook.
Facebook? Okay. Are
Yeah.
you on Truth Social or no?
I am. It's just Zachary.
You too. You're on all of them. That's great. Okay, cool. Before we close out, is there anything else that you would like the listeners to know?
Just if you have young people that are in your lives that care about these issues, try to get them involved in any way they can. It does not have to be in the political sense, but have them contribute something to their community or to their family, because those are the values that have really kept this country going and that started this country.
Zachary Halkias, youngest elected official in PA on the American Grown Podcast and the Colortech Creative Solutions Studios. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. God bless.
To see photos of today's guests and more content, just search American Grown Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review.
If you'd like to be a featured guest on the podcast, please direct message or email Austin at americangrownpod@gmail.com.